So how's it going, my comic kid? I'm here today with Sean Wood, the creator of The Fog Within. How you doing, Sean?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. Um, how long have you been making comics for?
So on Kickstarter, it's officially a year now.
Sweet.
So been a little bit longer making it and behind the scenes, of course, but yeah, year and a half really altogether.
You got 4 issues out.
So this is the third issue, but we're starting on the fourth issue as soon as this Kickstarter ends. Probably go live with that one about February, March, and then do a trade for all four issues. So trying to go as fast as I possibly can.
Is this your only book?
Yep. Yeah, so
Yeah.
far. I've been talking to other indie creators and trying to push me to do another book before I do the trade. And I have the idea and the outline and stuff, but I haven't actually written it yet. So, yeah, so far this is the first one.
Do you have like spin-off characters and big multiverse planned and everything like that?
Yeah, yeah, I've got like a anthology type story for one of my characters to show more of the backstory of how this world came to be type of thing. That's already written out, so I'm just trying to find the right anthology that I can put it in, and then possibly put it in the trade at the end for my book, stuff like that. I've got some side characters. My son, he saw this one screaming random dude in the first issue. He's just making a face like like this, and he called him Gary. And he has this whole storyline for this guy named Gary, and he's going to be in each book from now on. For like the draw-in page, you'll see like he has like a little mini arc, and we want to do like maybe a anthology type story for him too, that kind of thing. It's
That's so
crazy.
cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like it though.
thank you.
What's the elevator pitch for The Fog Within?
Yeah, so it's GI Joe meets X Men in the apocalypse with a time warping fog. So it's very specific. um, in the present, there's a cataclysmic event. Hunter runs into some fog a couple days later and ends up in the future 26 years. He doesn't know how he got there, and it's just craziness in the first page. And just want the reader to be just like Hunter, not knowing anything, trying to figure out the world at the same time, basically.
If you had the chance, would you go in the future or go in the past?
I'd say the future. Futuristic stuff like Back to the Future #2, that type of thing. It's always been more interesting than the past, I think, for me.
I would want to go like maybe 200-300 years in the future. You
Yeah,
know,
that'd be insane. Oh yeah,
that'd be pretty
be
cool.
like Blade Runner type world at that point.
Yeah, or if I
Yeah.
could go back, just get me like two Superman ones. That's
Oh
all I
yeah.
need. You know,
Yep. Just like the almanac in Back to the Future.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Perfect.
yeah. All you would need was two Superman, one to read, one to sell, and you'd be okay. You
Yep.
know.
There you go.
So this is your third Kickstarter, right?
Yep.
What's your do's and don'ts for new people out there that's going to start a Kickstarter?
Yeah, so of course they always say have an audience before you get in, but being new, you don't have that audience. So the way I started was okay, I don't have an audience. I'm not on social media whatsoever. So I started a Twitter page just for comics, just trying to get my name out there, showing pages as early as possible. Um, and my first tweet was, "I'm new to the social media. I'm new to comics. Let's do this together." Nobody saw that, of course, but that was for me. Um, so definitely, of course, be all over social media. Find who you can in the indie world. They can support you because there's a huge community that. I mean, there is drama, of course, at times, but there's plenty of people that are not about any of that drama, and they're all about just helping everybody out. I found that early, and it was before I went live with my first Kickstarter. And if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't have funded the first time. I was very close at the very end to funding. The like last 5 minutes is where I got over, which is nuts. But I would have also had my budget would have been way higher, thinking I'm going to make it, no problem. And a lot of guys were like, "Yeah, for the first one, I definitely wouldn't be that high. I'd be at like this level," and that was exactly what I needed. So things like that, just the wisdom I also went around and went to like cons that are like 3 hours away from me, like in that range, and just trying to meet any of the indies out there, showing progress pages that I've got. Hey, I'm the new guy. Can we chat or email back and forth? And a lot of those guys I still talk to. I went to like 5 or 6 cons, and yeah, that was huge. And just building that community, that's definitely the biggest thing. You can't do it alone. You are doing it alone in a way, but you do it together for sure. Help each other out, share each other's stuff, that kind of thing. That was the biggest thing. That's the biggest do.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've seen in indie comics that I like is everybody helps out everybody.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's
If
been awesome.
Yeah, how can you know that you can trust an artist to get the pages back to you?
I mean, at first, you have no idea. So, there's a little bit of trust, but you don't want to, extend it. Like there were some guys that I've never talked to before, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we do 5 pages at a time, and we want $500 up front." Well, I don't think I'm going to go with you, no matter how good you are. I can't trust that at the beginning. That might happen in the future, like 2 issues in or something, but not at the beginning. So with my artist and my colorist and everything, we've been together since the beginning, and there might be a time where he's like, "Hey, I've got bills coming up that I can't afford. Can you do 1 page ahead? Like pay for that?" Like, yeah, it's fine. He'll get it done by this time, and now we have that rapport that I know I can trust him, and he knows that he can rely on me to continue to pay him, of course. So it goes both ways. But it's definitely a little scary at the beginning because you don't know until you know for sure.
Yeah, because I don't think there's no insurance on that, right? Like if you send it through PayPal or
Yeah,
anything.
no, I don't think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never had to, but yeah, I don't think there is. And of course, you want to have agreements with your team too and stuff. And I don't know how that part would go with the agreement because I mean they're around the world, so how do you really enforce that? But yeah, you have to have a little bit of rapport first before you can do any of that kind of stuff.
I like the art though. I'm
Thank you.
looking at your Kickstarter. Your
No,
artist is awesome.
oh yeah. Yeah, I got real lucky with him. Basically, when I started, I knew I needed to have the script complete before I even looked for a team because I can tell somebody all about it, and if I'm not ready in 3 months, all of a sudden they're gone to another book. I lost
Mhm.
them. So I started looking after I had the script complete, and it was about a month and a half or so on Facebook groups was my biggest thing. Um, and I just looked all day, every day, pretty much that I could, and I found his, and I found other people too, and was reaching out. But his really spoke to me. I was looking more for a traditional penciler to start out. You have that basis first, and then find the rest of the team. Um, and yeah, his stuff was amazing, and it's been a year and a half been working together, and I've seen how much he's grown in his art, and now he actually inks the book too. He inks 2 and 3 traditionally, which has been awesome because it just elevated the story that much more.
Do you get the pages back after he's done with them? Like after he's drawn them and everything?
So no, I will be getting some of them, like 4 or 5 of them, because he's in Brazil. So plus there'd be a higher fee for that too. So I'm actually gonna be putting some of them on the trade Kickstarter, I think, to get that. But also I'll have like 1 or 2 of the covers that he's done, and I'll keep those, of course. But I haven't done it yet. I'm just trying to get enough money to keep on doing the book at the moment. Can't afford anything else.
So are you funding this yourself, then kickstarting it to recoup?
Yeah, yeah, basically. So I know like there's plenty of Kickstarters out there that are like you have to wait 6 months, a year, and things like that. And I don't want to be that guy. I want to have everything done as far as I can. Like right now, we have 2 pages to ink still, and we're already caught up with the colors, and we've lettered more than half the book. So by the time the Kickstarter is over, um, and I have the 3 weeks or so when the money comes in, that's when I'll go to print. The only thing that won't be done, I have a draw-in tier, and I have to get those photos of those people. and we'll finish that. But the page is already done and colored, other than where the 3 or 4 people will be standing. So it's really easy to fix that. We did that last issue, and it was done in like a week. So, but yeah, as soon as we do that, lettering will take about a week, and then we'll go straight to print. Hopefully, it'll be out by, I'd like to say, end of October, early November, something around that time frame. But I put on the Kickstarter in December just in case something happens. There's always something. But yeah, I want to get it as soon as I can. I can't have it in hands before the Kickstarter is over, but I do as quick as I could.
Yeah, printing takes a few weeks to get done,
Yep. Oh yeah.
and then it's probably gonna be a pain in the ass to get it all ready and send it out. What's the what's the
Yeah.
furthest you've sent the comic so far?
Like in the world,
Yeah,
so far I had 3 in England last year, so that was cool. It was
hell
nice
yeah.
to see outside of the U.S. because the first one I had about 50 or so that went physical, and those were all in the U.S., which is cool. But yeah, 3 in England. So we'll see if I get any Australia or anything like that this time around. It also costs more to ship, so it's harder for further in the world to get it, and harder for me too. So I completely understand.
It probably takes forever to get there too.
Yeah, I think they say like what I've seen estimates is like close to a month sometimes. I don't understand.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy. So, did people buy the draw-in tier?
yeah.
You got you got
So for the second one, we sold out by the end, and actually we had people waiting in pre-launch for it. Like people were like emailing me and messaging me on Facebook and stuff. So actually, it went in the first 30 minutes, all 3 of the drawing tiers, and I might be putting one other guy in that really wants it. Um, that they couldn't get the actual drawing tier, so we'll see if I can make that work.
yeah, that'd be cool to be immortalized forever in a comic book.
Yep. Yeah, what I try to do too is so they get pretty much everything that's new in the Kickstarter because that's the biggest tier. But also, I want to do like a their page as like a paper sized, um, and then have like the Fog Within logo at the bottom, so they can like frame it if they want or what have you. Like it's their own picture, so put it around the house.
Or you could scan it and make prints like 11 by 17 prints.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Where are you gonna be at this year? Any Comic Cons planned?
So I haven't done any cons, like any tabling yet. That's my next step. This year I finally got into like local comic shops, and like I have just on the peninsula where I'm at, I have like 6 shops, and they all put it at the counter. So they're all excited to have an indie around, which I was surprised. I was nervous to even go around because I've heard horror stories like they don't care or whatever sometimes, and you just get rejected, and it's going to happen. But it hasn't happened around here yet. Everybody's been real cool and supportive. So that was my goal after I had number 2 in hand because I just finished number 2. I got that printed in June, and then I went straight to number 3. So now that I have three books in hand, it'll be easier to sell a little bit more at cons. I've got like a couple library things local this year, and then I've got like a brewery I'm trying to be at early next year, still local, but they do an indie scene. And then there's a couple bigger ones around here. I'm slowly building. My goal eventually, maybe next year, is do like Heroes Con in Baltimore. 'Cause I always hear those are like the best shows. I went to Baltimore last year just hanging out with all the indies that I've met before, but I didn't table. So I'm building up to that. So we'll see.
What social medias are you on? Sorry, I drew a blank.
You're good. Yeah, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I try to do TikTok. That's a hit or miss almost all the time for me. Um, but yeah, those are the ones that I'm on. Reddit, even pretty much anywhere I can think of possibly to put it out there. I'm on Discords too, like different indie Discords and whatnot. Um, there's so much out there, but there's certain people that only be in certain areas. I feel like Twitter actually helps. the most, surprisingly. There's so many people that are always constantly like sharing and having days to just put indies out just to get more notice. And yeah, that's been my most helpful. But the people that I know has been on Facebook. Um, talking back and forth, Messenger and whatnot. Like we've talked on Messenger and everything.
Hmm.
So yeah, Facebook and Twitter definitely been the big ones.
So when a comic shop agrees to take your book, is it like a commission based, like we'll pay you after we sell it, or do they buy them up front?
So some of both. Some of the shops did consignment, and so I'll get the fee after they get paid from someone buying it, of course, which I'm cool with. I completely understand. I mean, it's a business. They're not just doing it out of love. They have to put food on the table for their families too. So I get that. But some people have bought it outright. It's of course wholesale, so I have to lose a little bit to get it out there, but I'm all for it because I've actually been recognized twice since I put it out in June. I don't wear my shirt all the time, but I was wearing it one day, and they're like, "Are you the writer of that?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw that at the shop the other day, and now I got to go pick it up because I've met you." And stopped me for a second.
Yeah.
And the first time it happened, it threw me off. It was so weird. It was cool, but it was such a strange thing since I'm so new to this. I'm just behind the scenes. Nobody really knows my face. So
Hmm.
yeah.
So dead or alive, who would you like to make a comic book with? Your dream team.
Yep. So I couldn't pick one, honestly. I mean, you never can, I guess.
Right.
So the ones that I've adored the most growing up, I mean, I was born in '88, so I was reading comics early '90s when Image and all those kind of things were coming out. So I would say Jim Lee would be amazing, and then Todd McFarlane, like we were talking about him earlier,
Hmm.
and I would say also I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Mike Mignola for Hellboy. Just his art is completely different than the other two, but I just love Hellboy so much, and just his art style is just amazing. It's so simple yet so detailed at the same time. I feel like, and yeah, those are the ones that I would pick. If I could do maybe all three, they would do anthology stories. There you go. So that works. It'd be one book.
I like it. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, just I have till the 20th for the Kickstarter, and I appreciate you having me on.
All right, man. Appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me.
Yep, thank you.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comic Chat Authority? Oh, come on, subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.